Network basics. So, when you think of a computer network, what comes to mind? Do you think of a router and a switch? Do you think of your wireless network at home that you're accessing this video over? Is it limited to just computers? Is it limited to just the internet? Is it limited to Wi-Fi or wired networks like Ethernet or fiber? Well, no. There are a lot of different types of networks out there, and when it comes down to it, the purpose of these networks is to make connections between lots and lots of different types of machines. For example, if you have an Apple Watch or some kind of other smartwatch, there's a connection between your watch and your smartphone, and this happens over Bluetooth. And guess what? This is a network. It's actually called a PAN, a personal area network, because of the small distance between the phone and your watch. Now, there's also the typical Wi-Fi network that you're used to when you connect your tablet to your wireless access point at home, and then you connect out to the internet. These are also networks. Or maybe your desktop is connecting to a hub, and then connecting to a switch that connects to a router, and then that connects to the internet. All of these are parts and pieces of a network. You see, there's lots of different kinds of networks out there, and these networks all have started to become converged over time. Now, in the old days, we had different networks for different purposes. When I grew up, we had a telephone network, and all it did was allow us to pick up the phone and make a phone call over an analog network. And then we had computer networks, and those were used to transmit data back and forth over a digital network. And these were separate things, the analog phone network and the digital data network. But over time, all of this merged and converged. And now we have often single networks that do voice, video, and data, and it's all traveling over the same network lines. So these days, when you pick up your smartphone, it really doesn't care whether you're making a voice call, sending out a text message, or you're surfing the internet or watching a video. All of this is going to use your data connection. To the phone and the carrier, it's all treated the same. It's just ones and zeros going out over a digital network. Now, because of this convergence and our reliance on our networks, we expect a high availability and uptime for all of our networks and devices. As somebody who used to be an IT director for a large organization, I can tell you that our customers expect 100% uptime. But honestly, that is just not realistic, because that means we would never have any downtime and nothing would ever go wrong. So instead, our promise to our customers in our business networks was that we would have 99.999% uptime. Now, this is what we call the 5 nines of availability. It's a common networking term. This isn't 100%, but it's pretty darn close and pretty darn reliable. So what does this equate to in real numbers in our network? Well, it means that throughout the course of the year, I'm only allowed to have 5 minutes of downtime. That's it. 5 whole minutes each year for all the downtime required. The rest of the year, all 365 days, 24 hours a day, I have to be up and running with my network and my devices all the time. And that's the challenge that we face as network technicians and network administrators. We've got to keep these networks up and keep the data flowing. So in this course, that's exactly what we're going to teach you. We're going to help make sure you understand the fundamentals of networks and how to troubleshoot things when they break, because this is fundamental to keeping our networks up and online. Now, once we have those networks up and running, you may be wondering, what kind of things can we do with it? In other words, what kind of network traffic can we expect to see within our converged networks? Well, we have things like file sharing and video chatting like Skype and FaceTime. We have surfing the web like going to Google and Facebook or DionTraining.com. There's social media like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. There's streaming video like what you're watching right now or going over to YouTube or Netflix. There's emails, there's instant messages, there's voice over IP with phone calls. There's lots and lots of different types of traffic all going across our network, and there's new types of traffic happening all the time as well, because new things are being designed and added to our networks. And we as network technicians and administrators are going to be expected to support all of it. Supporting all of this different network traffic is a huge struggle and a big challenge, especially if you want to maintain those 5 nines of availability, that 99.999% uptime. But we're going to work through that and all of the different challenges and how we overcome them throughout the rest of this course. So, what are we going to cover in this section of the course? Well, we're going to be focusing on network basics, such as the different components of our network, the resources in our networks, the network geography we use to describe our networks, the basics of wired and wireless network topologies, and some of the newest types of network clients, the Internet of Things. We're going to spend most of our time here in Domain 1, Networking Fundamentals, specifically focusing on Objective 1.2, which states that we must be able to explain the characteristics of network topologies and network types. We're also going to briefly cover a portion of Domain 2, network implementations by discussing Objective 2.1 in our Network Components lesson, as we compare and contrast various devices, their features, and their appropriate placement on the network. So let's dive into this section on network basics.